DJ, you go crazy.
DJUTV, let them know who we got in the building.
Jeffery Wilson.
Jeffery Wilson, what you on, gang?
Man, just chilling, man.
Well, welcome to DJUTV. It's definitely a blessing to have you here, for sure. This interview is brought to you by the Beard Boss. Fellas, shop with the Beard Boss, get 20% off when you use the promo code DJUTV. Mr. Wilson, we hear you got an interesting story, man.
Yeah, I do, man. From growing up in Inglewood, it was a rough life, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, real rough.
Well, most recently on DJUTV, we had an interview with Miss Rawanda.
Yes.
And throughout her interview, you know, she kept mentioning her husband, Jeffery Wilson.
Yeah.
And when we listen to her interview, when we watch the interview, we say, man, it's a crazy story, but it sounds like Jeffery Wilson was like the real nigga in the situation.
Yeah.
He was my ride or die.
Yeah.
No doubt with that. And I have a lot of respect for him because a lot of men wouldn't have been able to get involved in that, you know. But he just wasn't afraid of it. He just he a real nigga. He ain't afraid of that. Yeah.
We definitely interested in, you know, hearing your perspective, you know, your side of things, you know. But let's just start out with what side of Chicago you from?
The south side of Chicago.
Okay.
Inglewood, grew up on 64th and Normal.
Okay.
Went to school I went to at Kershaw, Walter Reed, and then Inglewood.
Okay.
The old castle, they would call it, way back in the day. And everybody, if the gangs was out there then, you know, they had rivals, you know, with the disciples, you know, with Black Gangster Disciples. Then they had the BDs. Then they had the Black Stones over east by CVS High School. You know, things, it wasn't like it is now. You know, they wasn't fighting a lot, all that killing. It wasn't a lot of that back in the 80s. But like, you know, everybody knew each other, everybody respected each other back then.
Yeah.
Wasn't all that snitching and telling on each other. You know, we did things, stole cars, radios, and things like that. When you're young, you do things like that. But as you get older, you realize, you know, that's not the right path to go. You get caught up, go to jail, get a felony. Back then you can't get a job. So it was time to stop all that and focus on my career and have a life. You know, I started having kids. I had 2 daughters. So it was time for me to raise my daughters and do the right thing. I had to step back from a lot of it, the streets and all that. I ran with a lot of people, Fluky Stokes, all those big guys. Ran the street, sold drugs, you know, back in the day. I stopped probably back in like 90. I left all that stuff alone. I started working, just trying to build a family, you know, get married and have the kids and live right. And that was my whole thing about changing my life and stay away from a lot of my friends that I thought that was cool, but they wasn't. Yeah. They was turning their back on me. When I got married and this incident happened with me and my wife, she would come home and tell me that people was trying to kill her, things like that. You know, and I was like, who trying to kill you? And then they got our phone number out at 7 District. They had a book on the desk with our home address, the phone number. So they was calling the house. And we stayed on 117th and Campbell. So I would call, they were like, we're gonna kill you motherfuckers and shit like that. So I would call her at work and I was like, somebody got our home phone number and they calling. So she started recording it. Then later on, I was in the streets and this guy was telling me, he said, we're gonna kill Mary J. So I was trying to figure out Mary J. You know, then I thought, I said, that's Wanda. So I was like, we met in the storage place. He was talking about we're gonna kill her tomorrow morning in the park. So I'm like, what the fuck? You know, it really bothered me. I'm like, this motherfucker. I said, who put the hit out? He said, police officer wanted dead. So it didn't dawn on me it was Michael Clifton the whole time. Because he had called the FBI and told the FBI that Wanda was harboring a gang member. And the FBI called me and he came to the house and interviewed me, Mark Longridge. And he was like, he told me, he said, I know it was a police officer call because he gave them everything on me, things that didn't nobody else know when I ran the streets. And this guy just told everything. And Mark Longridge, he was like, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get the guy. Cause we didn't check you out. We see you ain't doing none of this. You working, And I was like, why would this guy do this to me? And we run the streets, do everything together. And you trying to set me up to send me to prison, make me lose everything because you went with Wanda. I didn't know about they had a relationship. I never knew, because I had run in the liquor store at 59th and Racine. So she come back there, want to drive my that Cadillac I had. The Seville I had back then, the 86 Seville. She asked me, could she drive? That's when I first, I seen her, running around. She's like, me and my girlfriend want to go out to dinner and something, drive your car. I said, well, if you want to drive, you can drive it. I was just joking around with her at the liquor store. And later on, she started coming around. We got cool, started messing around, things like that. And then we went and got a Mercedes-Benz. I remember it was 1995 Mercedes-Benz. It was the C280 we bought on 90th and Kersey at the Mercedes-Benz dealership. So I told her, I said, do not drive this car to work. I said, please do not drive this car to the police station, because the shit gonna kick off, because none of those police officers driving these cars. So as soon as she drove to work one day, that's when the shit hit the fan. Motherfuckers calling, telling me I'm a drug dealer, I bought her that car, I'm doing all this shit all the time, and I was so pissed, and I like, this motherfucker then, some of her friends, I can't think of the police officer's name, but she was doing a lot of shit too. And this other police officer, Al Kennedy, I couldn't stand that motherfucker. He's a snitch. He would go back in Inglewood and report back to the drug dealers and tell them what was going on and shit like that, lying and shit about different things. And I hated that dude, man. He had family live around there, so.
He worked for the police?
Yeah, he was a police officer, worked in the detective unit with Wanda. Okay. But this motherfucker, he was going around doing a lot of shit, man. And he knew I knew. He would go back just to get favors from the gang members, keep them from doing shit to him. He would go back and report. That's why I tell people, don't trust the police, a lot of them. Those cap meetings, you can't fuck with it. Because they got family, they go back and tell their family, then that's how you end up dead. So, you gotta be mindful of all that. But Wanda, she was, back to her, she was a good police officer. She got all type of awards and everything. But when she do an incident report on somebody, it would come up missing in the police station. She would tell me when she go back to get the card, it was missing. When she locked somebody up, they was out. Like, they was really fucking with her. Internal Fair, Charles Williams, he came to my house. He was saying that we know Michael Clifton setting you up, but he was lying to me. He was playing me the whole fucking time. So they set a Camaro out on our block. They sit out there for like a week, watching us every fucking day. And then they got JB truck, the one who was supposed to kill Wanda. They ran around in his fucking truck around our house. So they was all together, the killer, to knock off, all of them. Wow. And they sit in McDonald's that afternoon before the shooting happened. They was in McDonald's on 78th and West and sitting there plotting the whole thing. So I was at home sick because I was taking heart medication. So Wanda called me and said this guy following her in the Blazer. So I'm all fucked up, because I'm on that medicine. So I jump up, get in my car, I fly down Western. So I meet her by Little Miss Muffin. So when I get down there, I ain't see him. So on our way coming back down Western to 80th, I see his ass sitting on the side. So I spin my fucking car around. I jump, I said, motherfucker, why the fuck you following her? He ain't saying shit, you know what I'm saying? So I just pulled my gun out. He just got back nervous. Then I shot him, then he shot at me. Then he was trying to get away in the truck, and that's when I shot the tires out and shot the back glass out the car. And then all the other police started coming from everywhere. Then they put handcuffs on him. But the car wasn't registered to the police department at all. And the rest of the police, they was sitting in the park, sitting there waiting on the hit to go down so they could just disperse and get away with it. But it didn't go that way, because they was gonna knock off. And that was the whole plan. So the FBI came out there too. That's when they took him into the station. Then he's sitting in there laughing. Then he talking about I shot him. He was saying all this shit at the police station, but if you shot while you're in the station, that's what I was trying to figure out. If you shot, you going straight to the hospital. They gave him a ward because he lied and said he got shot. They docked up a lot of shit, man, to mess us up like that. Now, I was so pissed. Then I ended up going to court for 3 years. They had told me they were gonna get me for money laundering, all type of shit. Then when they had me in the station, they saying, you gonna do 30 years for trying to kill a police officer. I said, what about my wife wanting to put, fuck her. That's what they said. They snatched a badge off of everything. They didn't give a fuck. And Michael Clifton in the background, like, he did what he needed to do to us, to destroy us. And that's what he did, to mess up everything. My whole life, putting that felony on me. I couldn't go out and do nothing, get no job, nothing. It really hurted me real bad. I wanted to get revenge on his ass. That's how I felt, man. But it didn't happen to him. He got caught up on them rapes and all that shit, so it took 20-some years to get him. But it got his ass. He lost everything. His wife left him every fucking thing, Now you see how the shit feel to lie on somebody. So I tell people, you just gotta be mindful who the fuck you fuck with. Everybody ain't your friend. And I tell people, guys in Englewood that I knew wasn't shit. A lot of my friends, some of them that I used to steal cars with, when the police went to interview them, they lied on me. Just told lies just to try to bring me down farther and farther. Cause you ain't got shit, cause I'm driving nice cars. You making the same fucking money I'm making. Cause you don't want to buy shit, you want to do other bullshit. I'm not doing the same shit you doing. So don't fucking lie on me. And they was glad when I went to jail. A lot of them. They were so fucking happy, man, to see me gone. Everybody succeed when you doing good and they can bring you down, and people more happy. And the police department, they was part of it. They tell a whole lot of lies to bring you down. It still bothers me to this day, and it's been 28 years. A lot of time I don't even drive down Western, because I have flashbacks of that shooting. Somebody shooting at you shooting at this guy, you fear for your life. It was just real hard for me, man. Trying to raise my daughter, sitting in prison 4 years, went to different prisons every year. They transfer me to a different prison. You in there with fags, you got a cellmate that's homosexual, all this other shit. You're dealing with a whole lot of shit you don't want to deal with. Guys that from the street, you see them in the penitentiary, they gay. A lot of guys I knew in the street were supposed to been hard, they down there sucking dick and all type of stuff, man. I never expected that, to see them like that. When they see me in there, they were just looking. And I was like, all the connection I got with the Mexicans and all that, I just got a whole lot of powerful friends. When that thing happened, they was coming. When they seen that shit on the news, they wasn't playing. Don't lie on that man like that. I wasn't in the street putting my name out in the club. I tell you, you cannot do that. If you're in the business of making money, you can't be in the club hanging around a lot of women, because that's your downfall. That's how you're gonna go to jail. But they're gonna tell them, they get mad, they're gonna tell on you. So that's why I always stay low. And at the police station, they were like, we see him all the time. We never suspected him. That's what they were saying in the station, because I never was out there like that. Then they put me out there saying I was robbing all the people, robbing all them drug dealers and shit. They put me out there for that shit too. Said I was wearing masks and all type of shit, but they ain't had no proof. But that's what they put out there on me. But I was like, I ain't said shit. The FBI guy told me, he said, don't say shit to him. He was like, they don't have shit on you. Don't talk to him. It was one other officer too came in the room, was telling me, don't talk. But with Rawanda, we did a lot of things, life was all right, and it was just things that I seen. Yeah. For her to be messing around on me and mess this guy Lee Daly, and I was like, why you gotta do this shit? And just a lot of shit, man. A lot of guys that I knew about, other police coming telling me about it, but I just left it alone. She was pregnant, doing the shooting with my daughter, Lauren. After that, and things just started going down after the shooting. She was like, ready to go and didn't want to be together. So that's it. You know, I went to jail, just left me hanging. One time visit, nothing.
She only visited you once when you was locked up?
Yeah.
How long were you locked up? 4 years?
4 years, and never sent me no money, nothing. Nothing.
Whoa.
Nothing. Left me high and dry, man. Nothing. But I couldn't do that to anybody. I wouldn't do that.
That's crazy.
I went out there and risked my life to save your life. Then you just leave me hanging. You know, I lost a lot of shit, but I didn't gain a lot of shit back because I got people that looked out for me. So I'm back on my feet. You know, I done been sick dealing with this cancer and different shit, but I'm okay. You know, I'm gonna keep on living. I'm not gonna let this shit, what they did to me, break me. Because that's what they want to do. They want to break a black person so you don't have shit. They want you to be domestic and fight and so you can go to jail. That's what it's all about. You know, so I wasn't into none of that. So I learned, you want to stay in these streets, you can't argue with these women, you just got to walk away. And that's how it was. My own family, my sister Crystal Taylor was coming over there to the house of Rawanda with her gas, keeping up a bunch of bullshit. You know, she lived right on the street Hale, right off 117. When you come across Vincent, that's Hale Street. She stayed on 117th, and we right on Campbell across Western. She would always want to come by our house and keep up bullshit just to destroy somebody. I shouldn't be living over in Beverly, you know, because you went to school. My father sent her to these good schools and all this shit, you know, but I shouldn't have shit. I should be back down in the gutter in Inglewood. A lot of people come out of Inglewood, they successful. They doing good. You know, everybody, you grew up over there, you still do good. I know a lot of people that left Inglewood doing real good. You know, it done came back up now. But it was always good over there, man. Yeah. All back in the 80s. We always done good all the time. It was never a lot of issues, man. I'm just telling you with the gangs. Yeah. But with Wanda, man, it was, I don't know. Yeah. Her son, he me and him get along real good, you know, but I don't know.
Like you say, 28 years is definitely still a sticky topic, you know, a sensitive topic. You know what I'm saying? What bothers you the most about everything that transpired?
Just to set me up like that, to lure me out there. And I think it was for him to do that, to lure me out there so they can kill me. That's what it was all about, for them to knock me off. He figured if I come out there shooting, they can kill me and get away with it. Because I'm a felon, I'm out there with a gun. See, it would have been wiped away. They'd have called me a gang member. I was running drugs for all the disciples and all that shit. They put all that shit out there, man. Put on me on the news that I was head of the Black Gangs Disciples and all type of shit. They put it all in for a whole week. You know how embarrassing that is? For people get you had me on the front page of the fucking Sun Time, and people that I knew was saying that's you on the paper. You know, I had to lie to them, said that ain't me, cause the guy was on there had a lot of hair. I'm bald-headed now. I said, that ain't fucking me. They're like, yeah, that's you. But it's fucked up to do that to somebody. You know, spread your name all on TV nationwide. That's what really hurt me the most, man. To destroy you like that. And we don't have shit now. Black people don't have nothing. Just your credit and your name, that's it. That's all we have. You can't, people don't like you, man. No matter what you do, you can't satisfy nobody. You can be married, you can't satisfy your wife because they're always looking for something else. And I found out about women. They always, if a man grin in their face, they got to go and be with that man. Then they come home and you don't want to sleep with you and shit like that, making excuses. But it didn't bother me, you know, because I knew my plan. You know, my father always taught me, he was a 33rd degree Mason. He always taught me a lot of shit, man, about women, about life. And I knew which way to go with my life. That's why I didn't care. You want to leave, you leave. You want to be with these men, go on and be with them. I don't care. I think jail was my freedom, just be away from her.
Really?
Yeah. Because the way she did me. Because I would never do that to her. Never in life. Turn my back. But it's cool, you know. I'm not mad at her for what happened. I just let it go. Because that's what happened. You know, she did it. I went and spent all that time. I just let it go. I really don't care no more, man. Whatever she want to do, you know, my daughter, I love my daughter. I had 2 daughters. I love both of them a lot. But I'm not mad about anything no more because I have to release it, man. Because if I keep holding that shit, it's going to kill me. You know, worry about what they done did to me. But, you know, but sitting in prison.
DJ, you go crazy.